in the year 2022 with sharing our AWOKH products that we have available. Our today's is our AWOKH business. Our today's is our fashion. Our today's is how we present our Mama Anna Philander, Mama Universe birth womb in the international world. Our today's is our birth womb that our Mama Universe in amongst humanity's birth wombs in the world. And our today's are also how we decide to own what we represent in any given day. And while for some time this morning I had to find my feet around the house with finding my today in this day. And I realized why my business are called AWOKH business. Then learned that there's so many communications around your today. And while me, the person, have to acknowledge my AWOKH business, while I have to give acknowledgement to my AWOKH business in its complete birth womb in the international world, I have to give acknowledgement to my day. My day is not what I say on a social media page. My day is not what I wear on any given day. My day is not the wrong that people find me doing in their day. My day is everything AWOKH business. Everything Ribea Elise. In the completeness of my international battle, in the completeness of my Mama Anna Philander, Mama Universe battle, in the completeness of acknowledging self in this season, acknowledging every part of communication that I'm Ribea Elise in the universeness of where this photo derives from. It was not only a day with the hair weave on. It was not only me standing under a tree. It was not only the photographer that got the photo perfect. It is everything Ribea Elise in its season. When you have to acknowledge yourself in everything that you do, and when you have to acknowledge yourself in the completeness of your mama's womb on this earth, there is now not only a womb presented on earth, there is now not only a womb introduced on earth, but today we are brought to technology, today we are brought to television, today we are brought to every part of the motor vehicles that we are driving, the flights that we book on any given day, the boats that we get on under the seas, how every city are constructed, and you would exactly look at how Dubai is built today, and you exactly would see that AWOKH business have built Dubai. And when my Mama Anna Philahander's birth, we have to run all over the world to find their processes. And I, Ribea Elise, have to be so direct on my social media pages with sharing information that the celebrity house already writes in their films. They write my brother Richard's name, they write his surname Philander. And they write in the film that he's King Richard. And when I, Ribea Elise, have to go and run for my information to New Zealand, where the sun begins very first on any given day, where I have to take my mama's womb back from those that want to run with it, where I have to acknowledge myself in New Zealand to a South Africa that wanted to disregard my Mama Anna Philander's house. When you have to make such a statement in the international world that everyone has closed their ears, and you are actually actually not making a fool of any given day that you were birthed in your mama's womb, in the universeness of your birth womb, that humanity are building cities on. The Dubai has constructed. I traveled to Dubai in 2004. Every part of Dubai, they've sent photos to my Instagram. Every part of Dubai is Ribea Elise's smile. Mama Anna Philander's kindness and calmness. Ribea Elise, that is now not only in Dubai, in every part of what I appreciate in my day. The kindness that I love, the most calmest person that I used to be. Then Dubai have probably stolen me someone else here. Because he's born in the middle of me. And he's born direct color next to India. And when you are born through all of those family lines and colors, and you have to go and locate your information in the international world. And Dubai shared photos to me, and I've saved the photos on my Instagram page. That this is City AWOKH. Every part of what you appreciate, the gold that should be gold and not yellow gold. And that also sometimes comes in all the colors. The frame of AWOKH's perfect smile. That is exactly your teeth, and that you appreciate your own teeth. And that you accept that the day that you took your front teeth, that I took my front teeth out. I accept that day. I love the calmness. I love sand that I soak when I get to the beach. Sand that doesn't harm my underfeet. My feet that are pure. And not as the colored people in South Africa's heels are today hard and they must rub it with a piece of the rock. Dubai built his city around my AWOKH communications, around my universe birth womb, around my Mama Anna Philander's universe birth womb. And when he acknowledged me, when they called us in 2004, that I am the woman that loves dance clubs, that loves drunkenness, but I love a safe place. And while everything assigned R.E. Ribea Elise, Mama Anna Philander, Mama Universe signed everything in accordance to acknowledging the person Ribea Elise. And while the Bible have sent a lot of photos to me, and I'm still waiting for my Lamborghini. I had a good laugh when I was studying the first time public management at Cape Technikon, University of Cape Town Technikon. And while I was studying public management, I got to the Cape Technikon area that day, and I was so angry. And not really angry, but I was so distant away from the complete process after I've now completed my matric year. And while my sister Aunt Jeanette and her husband Leon traveled from England to pay for my university studies at that time, and while they traveled so that I can also have a career and so that I can also find my feet and find my pace, and while they made every effort, I got to Cape Technikon and I looked around, and it was my secondary school, New Orleans secondary school students there. And they all pretended that they now really didn't know me. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just that. And I went on with my day. And maybe people are now just like that. And then we grew up Afrikaans speaking, right? And when we grew up, I could only speak Afrikaans. But I was very good in English. But I could only speak Afrikaans. And after my matric year, I got to the Cape Technikon University. And it was now English-speaking students. And I'm sitting in the classroom. And everyone tend to educate themselves, to distance themselves away from you. And then you tend to listen to what is really happening around you. Because then it's now not a word of apartheid. Then it's now not a word of then it's now not a matric certificate in your hand that looks like AWOKH's business and communications in the universe. Then it's now you, the person, sitting in this room that is now the educational room. And when people tend to want to distance, I know when I was in New Orleansville Primary School, I always used to be attentive to children that distance themselves away. I used to be attentive to every part of the process of how teachers teach, how food are provided, how children have food in their lunch boxes, does all the children have food? And I used to be very attentive to all of those processes. And by the time that I got to Cape Technicum, there was now going to be no difference with this Ribea Elise and little Ribea kid that used to check, how does everyone not have a good lunchbox? And everyone must open their lunch boxes at the same time while everyone, the whole school sits outside and everyone now looks at everyone opening their lunch boxes. And what if I now don't have lunch in my lunchbox? And I used to look at how the education department were managing a baby Ribea Elise and this. And while I was the baby that had to acknowledge myself, when I learned that there was so much happening even around the education department, and I got to Cape Technicum, and the children were now having to be in groups that we now have assignments. And we are still in the early days of the classroom of having to introduce ourselves. And while everyone had to now decide whether they now going to step closer to Ribea, because there's already children at Cape Technicum with darker skin colors. So it's now not a matter of skin color, baby Ribea realized. Because here's already African children at Cape Technicum. And while the classroom had to make a decision who they gonna group with, the group classroom's assignments was now not only the education at Cape Technicum, but was also the education at New Orleansville Primary School. Children, just y'all decide who y'all group with. And there sits baby Ribea Elise, and the children is now really not going to decide to group with Ribea. They now really have to make their decision sometimes themselves. And while we are now older and we are at Cape Technicum, everyone, it is group time, and you all are now going to have group projects, and everyone choose a group. And I am the person who's now really Ribea Elise that I introduced with how we are supposed to behind. In the calmness of my acknowledging myself in my birthday. In the calmness of not forcing someone else to have me in the group if I'm not really meant to be part of the group. In the calmness of not speaking out of place, not speaking out of rudeness, not disregarding anyone in the class. And then baby Ribea Elise would now exactly sit and wait until everyone now decides to have a group. And would they really want me in the group? And I would look at all of those reactions, and then I would make a decision. But I would not invade people's privacy. And while I was sitting in the classroom at Cape Technicum, and I looked at every part of the educational study of public management. And it was not only by the introduction of public management in South Africa. And while every child chose a group and all the group chose one another, there sits baby Ribea Elise once again all by a lone self. Now, is it now because that Mama Anna Philander always used to say when she got to the restaurants, and the restaurants really knew Mama Anna Philander and sometimes they really didn't know. And then Mama Anna Philander really didn't play, but really the question is now, is it now a black and white Ribea? A vote photo, the sun was bright, everything was there. This photo, this baby Ribea. Is it now a black and white story? And Mama Anna Philander would always say at the restaurant, is it because I'm now black? And it's not that Mama Anna Philander was disregarding everyone. It is that the restaurant sometimes already have Mama Anna Philander's Mama Universe information. And then you tend to get your plate of food like that. Like New Zealand has introduced Ribea Elise without me having the opportunity to now allow everyone to look at me at the restaurants and be introduced to me, the person. New Zealand have bashed the restaurant communications with who Ribea Elise is in the loudest of every aggression of poverty circumstances in the house so that they can explain and introduce Ribea Elise. While the whole of New Zealand had an opportunity to press play on any video any given day or time. And I, Ribea Elise, really am not giving myself up on any given day or time. And I have to acknowledge myself. And then I will wait for the whole classroom to now decide whether they want to be Elise at their table. And when those group assignments got a little bit too enough for me, then I looked around at what is really happening at that technical. And then I learned that people are driving Ferraris and they've just started their student year. People are driving Lamborghinis and they've just started their student year. People are driving the latest vehicles with their off-road and then they have just began their student year, and we only came from secondary school. Now where is South Africa at with the house of processes? And while I was looking around, I said, now, where is everyone's processes at? And where do these people get these vehicles? Where does the children get these vehicles? No, their parents bought it for them. Their parents bought it for them. Where do their parents stay? Not in Cape Town, in other regions of countries. And I said, oh. And what else? No, they also stay in the apartments and it's very nice here. Oh. And what else? Now, if we have only completed our school year, and they might be third-year students already, and I'm first-year student in my Mama Anna Philander is my universe room, and they want to now introduce themselves as AWOKH business. And this is Ribea Elise of AWOKH business. And I'm not here driving my Lamborghini. I'm not here driving my Ferrari. I'm not here driving any of those vehicles. And I have to introduce myself a little lesser than my birthroom. Then I resigned and I stepped away from Cape Technicon and I did not complete my studies. And that's when I moved away from Cape Technicon. Because how can I now introduce my Mama Anna Philander's room lesser than Dubai is built on any given day? Lesser than how he is introduced to the international world, lesser than how Mama Universe have introduced it to American Celebrity House. This is face Mama Anna Philander only. And when it's only face of American Celebrity House, where's every part of that process at? Every part of the birth journey of Mama Anna Philander. And by the time that we get to the Chinese government, and Mama Martha now was now either from China also, or she was only from Africa. And Mama Martha now came to introduce herself to the children, and Mama Martha now sounded exactly like a Chinese grandmama. And the children said, no, Mama, but you now talk odd because you now don't even talk Xhosa. What language is Mama then talking, we said. And our grandmama walked away from us and she went again to the house where she grew up, and the children just couldn't understand. But this process does not seem right, and that is called introduction. Well, baby Ribea Elise today have to now introduce once again. Thank you, Dubai. This is a 1 dirham. I have 4 of these 1 dirhams in my cupboard. And this 1 dirham is now exactly standing, how do we call it? Everything you seasons. And I have to again introduce myself now to everyone that has already worked on my communications. And I have to again say that this 1 dirham was now me again traveling through Dubai. And while I've again traveled through my own city, and I now sound like Major Sergeant, they would say. And I've again traveled through my own city because some people want to acknowledge that other people have a good laugh about all of these processes. And the world is really in poverty and wars about all of these processes. And while I have to again be introduced in my very own good city, and while I have to introduce and say that those of y'all that want to buy our original AWOKH purse, y'all can order it directly from AWOKH business. Everyone is doing that, everyone says, and we don't have a problem with doing that. But this process have already been introduced to every office. Everyone has worked on it. It was not only for me to now say everyone, the purses are at that store and at that store. Now I still have to say, order the purse so that I can go and put the purses in that store and in that fashion store. Original leather, order our purses, we want to share it to our South African fashion clothing stores. We want to share it to the international world of fashion stores with our AWOKH face on. And if you all put the order through, then we can go and do the complete process of the AWOKH purse. And in the international world of business, some people have to sit and beg for food on a daily basis. And begging for food doesn't come easy when Al Jazeera News have war arguments about processes in the international world. And everyone has got Ribea Elise's AWOKH processes, and Ribea Elise don't have it yet. All the fashion stores wear an AWOKH smile, and they have Ribea Elise's Ray-Ban sunglasses on. And I don't even have my own process by me yet. And the Ray-Ban sunglasses has either got a gold smile or a silver smile. You choose. And yes, it's baby Ribea, the baby of the whole womb process. And the baby can't get angry because angry is now not part of it, everyone says. While Rico, New Zealand has tried to control this house process, this house is a Mama Anna Filan house process. If we can again say that to Rico, New Zealand, Rico, China, this is a number 2B, Jutland Road, Manu River, Auckland, New Zealand. It is a Mama Anna Philander, Mama Universe house process. Every tree that is built around this house, every fashion process, Mama Anna Philander, Mama Universe house process. If we can also have that right, thank you. So that's for our AWOKH purse, right? You can also order our AWOKH calendar, our 2025 calendar. And if you need office calendars for every year, then you can order that in advance through email, or you can go to stripe.com and you can order from AWOKH Business Products on stripe.com. This is how our calendar would look. The calendar would have its days and times. We have already said on our website a pre-example of the calendar, not a complete example of a part of the calendars. We're gonna do the one complete portrait calendar, wall calendar, and then we're gonna do the calendar books for those people who want to buy the calendar books for their office desks. We would have the calendar books then also available. If you are in New Zealand and you want to order the cup for Pramas also, the cup is not microwavable cup. It's only to add your tea in it. And if you have warmed your coffee already, and if you're only making your coffee in a cup, not in a microwave, then you can order that cup. And that's also a AWOKH office cup that you can also order from us. If you want the printing on pens, AWOKH pencils with the AWOKH profile photo printed on, then support our Mama Universe Womb initiative with AWOKH profile photo on the pen and on the pencil also. New Zealand has got all of that facilities available here, so we can do all of that, and we have checked all of those facilities in Auckland, New Zealand already. And they've got that stationery warehouse where we can do all the printings, yes, and they've got all of these facilities available. So it is for everyone that supports AWOKH initiative and everyone that is now listened 10,000 times to us, now explaining everything that we can explain on any given day. Then to order those lovely AWOKH calendars. We've got the wall calendar. That is the big AWOKH portrait calendar. We've got the calendar book for the desks that you can put on the desks in offices where women are employed. We've got the calendar pencils, and we don't even want to say if the offices are AWOKH offices, right? So there's still all of those processes. AWOKH offices directly has to order from AWOKH business also. And no one has to come and look at how offices are designed, to come and look if your office looks like AWOKH business, and then that's probably your how do they call it at Nibblybits? The purchaser, receiving and purchasing team that has to purchase AWOKH's products. So we've got all of those trainings I received at Nibblybits, and I was myself a trainer because I was employed as human resources officer, yes, health and safety officer, yes, human resources administrator, and in all of those duties, everything was explained. So if the color coded are color coded, you know, we learn offices are by colors, educational schools are by colors, and everyone lives by color, and every business goes by color. And then AWOKH color has been introduced on social media. Ribea sunglasses, Zara, H&M coat, they all AWOKH initiatives, and then all order from AWOKH also. So that's our calendar books. We've got our motivational books, yes, or our AWOKH motivational book. We've got our AWOKH motivational magazines. That is exactly a motivational magazine. Everything will be at least not your normal magazine. Women motivational inspirations that you can build your business from, that you can write a book from. It is motivational initiatives that's now really not only for today. Do not compare my AWOKH business with Malvina Latikam Abrams' ISA business. They came after my purpose business on social media. Then they introduced their business. And now their business is the whole time standing in front of my AWOKH face. And my AWOKH face is Ribea sunglasses and no one stands in front of it. So that's just a part of my AWOKH business. AWOKH t-shirts, everyone. With our printed logo on. You're going to want to order our AWOKH printed t-shirts, right? Our AWOKH printed t-shirts has got the complete printing on. Thank you, the printing place. I already have our AWOKH communication. We ordered this at a printing place in New Zealand, and they already gave us everything Ribea Elise, everything leather, everything our Ribea Elise first, and we need New Zealand to cooperate and to work along with our AWOKH Mama Anna Philander, Mama Anna Universe processes, Anna Philander Universe processes. And if New Zealand's printing place already has got this information, and then probably the restaurants and all of those two places that has to collaborate with Ribea Elise already also have this information. And then no one has to sit and beg for the businesses to be funded if the process have been educated clear to the whole international world. So AWOKH printing t-shirt has got our AWOKH face for just a clear review and picture on that. Our AWOKH printing t-shirt has got this face on. It's got then the motivational writing on, with AWOKH motivational writing on. And when the motivational writing are so clear, then get that right also. Another process in New Zealand for my YouTube blogger collaborations in Auckland, New Zealand. Auckland, New Zealand has received all the training from America, from the International Armies and Defense Force about all of these processes. Collaborations in Auckland, New Zealand, there's 10,000 restaurants and they're all empty sometimes. Even though New Zealanders get paid weekly, it doesn't mean it overrides the collaboration processes of bloggers and blogger processes in New Zealand. And when they want to tend to override a Ribea Elise's blogger process, like they have override over the New Orleans Bell Primary School children while I Ribea was a little girl. And while they want to override this communication, because they want to explain themselves as weekly salary people, and that's why they have so much restaurants. It's not that. It is that there's blogger processes, there's credit card processes that has been educated to the international world. And for people to have households funded and households financial circumstances fine, the credit facilities are available. Real estate agents in America educated, American Celebrity House educated to the international world on a daily basis. The bloggers of America educated in the daily on a daily basis. And the Army of America has done their work to educate the international world on all of these processes. Where the international world slack on it, that's the international world's own opinion. But as for all the restaurants, as for all the credit facilities for an AWOKH business, for people that's new business owners, small business owners, and they're waiting for the collaboration with other businesses, the educations have been very clear. I only had to press play on a few YouTube videos and they explain a lot of processes. Where Nibblybits don't intervene with the process is when Melanie Gibbers, that was employed at Nibblybits, after I was already employed there, they employed Melanie Gibbers to hinder my AWOKH business communications. And Melanie Gibbers then have been called to Australia. Australia don't intervene in AWOKH business communications. It is Mama Anna Philander's Mama Universe communication. And there's no way that Ribea Elise is again going to explain all of these information in another live stream video. So for Nibblybits that have closed their offices and that have changed their name in South Africa, it's now called Interfoods, Rhodes Foods. All of these processes need to be right. And they don't the whole time run to step in front of Mama Anna Philander's communications. And that is where Dubai is, and with a lot happening in Dubai. There's prostitution, there's rape, there's a lot of abuses because the processes are so clear in the international world. And the whole international world tend to want to ignore the process. They tend to want to close their ears. They tend to want to blame it on someone else. And every day another woman in the international world are abused and kidnapped. Not a woman that's going to be employed by a AWOKH business, Ribea Elise says, because while y'all have bolded your cities, while y'all have colored these colors, while it looks exactly like Mama Anna Philander's Mama Universe womb, the explanations have to be fine the way that the household has been introduced to all of y'all. And when the household has not been introduced as an increased household, then no one goes to introduce our house as rape situations and rape cases and everything that is happening in the international world, and that can be fine processes, and that we even educate on all of our educations. And there is that. New Zealand, if you want to order, the seasons are changing, and you might want to order a picnic basket from us, right? Not a picnic basket, a picnic day with me, Ribea Elise. And everyone knows the whole world is full of lovely processes for AWOKH's fashion and for Ray-Ban sunglasses. This is now Ribea Elise self, and this process doesn't go easy, as all of y'all can see how I have to introduce it. It doesn't look easy. It doesn't go easy. Nothing about it is easy, and it doesn't even look the way that Ribea Elise would want to do it, because everyone wants to say what they want to say about me. While we are at that, if y'all want to order AWOKH picnic, then order our picnics, savory picnics, snack picnics for the spring season, the summer season, even late winter season. Y'all can put those orders through. We've got the two types of picnics that we want to do for everyone. That is your 2 bottles of wine picnics, and that is your 2 bottles of grape juice picnics. And that's South African Nederburg wines. Don't steal our communications. Malvina Latican Abrams traveled to Nederburg wines while I was in South Africa in 2018. Malvina Latican Abrams ISA business, do not steal my communications. And we have to be so clear, because humanity are all over the place with these processes. For Nederburg wines, yes, and that is our AWOKH winery picnic communications. And if anyone steals the processes, then we don't get angry about it, because there's a means of how the Armies and Defense Force manages the international world for all of our communications to be once again located to Ribea Elise, the person, right? And while our lovely savory picnics are then available, and our snack picnics, it is exactly the choice snacks and the choice savories that everyone would want to choose for their specific picnics. And that's the 2 picnics that we also then have available. Our mentorship programs, if you all haven't booked yet, and you all have to book, we do the mental wellness mentorship program. In all the craziness of the international world, mental wellness has to be educated in all of its acknowledgements to Ribea Elise, to Mama Anna Philander's birthday. Not because of someone that wants to make you crazy, but in acknowledgement of no one was ever meant to be crazy on this earth. And there's so much craziness is happening on this earth. So acknowledgement to our womb, our mental wellness mentorship program is available. what else is available? Our reading list generation mentorship programs are available. Into Tokyo, Japan, Irvan Kamali that have traveled with the Roslan Kamali that is staying in Colonnade Street in our street. Irvan Kamali that traveled to Auckland, New Zealand with my husband Dorian in December 2017 to intervene in a Mamana funded process like Melanie Kibas, Nublibits. For South Africa, Christopher Luxony, the president of New Zealand, looks like Irvan Kamali. And when New Zealand has called people out of Colonnade Street to intervene in our Mama Ana Philanders processes, we want to be very direct with New Zealand. The International Armies and Defence Force doesn't play with processes like a Mama Ana Philander, Mama University. And that's for Tokyo, Japan in the motor vehicle processes of my Lamborghini that everyone else was driving. And I exactly can do every color of my Universe Communications of my Lamborghini. And I'm exactly not driving it yet. Then that's for Tokyo, Japan, that we are waiting for those communications, and also for Dubai, because Dubai has got all of the motor vehicles and lots of our household communications there. That is it, everyone. Yeah, Roslan Kamali, Irvan Kamali. So Roslan Kamali was manager at McDonald's. McDonald's is now also my cousin, my sis Anne Sunet's daughter is also working at McDonald's in England. For Roslan Kamali, them and Irvan Kamali and Christopher Luxon, don't send messages around the international world that are disturbing to our Mama Ana Philander's house in the international world. What else? That's now Christopher Luxon. That's now that process of McDonald's PAL community. And then McDonald's PAL community's manager was deceased, yes, now in 2023 because of that process itself, maybe. And he was now really, really a fine manager. So that whole process, don't intervene in our Mama Ana Philanders communications. That's for the restaurant teams. I've been to the offices in Auckland, New Zealand, restaurant teams. That's McDonald's and all of those franchises. I went there for an interview in 2018. Don't intervene in our Mama Ana Philanders, Mama Universe communications. That is it, everyone. Have all the processes fine. Mrs. Antoinette was also called to Tokyo, Japan. Christopher Luxon has traveled now to Japan. Antoinette was then through her council employment. That is a universe employment process. Was then called to Tokyo, Japan, and she said no, and she took a step back from that job, and she took a job with a lesser salary because she's now really not gonna stand in war arguments of people that have messed all the processes up in the international world. So that's for Council England. Don't abuse our household's employment. Don't abuse our Mama Ana Philander's universe communications, and don't call us into certain countries to want to endanger us. Have the processes be fair and fine in every office and in every legislative house. For Rishi Sunak standing on the political house in England's seat, while I was employed at Nublibit's office, while Nublibit's office had all the European managers there, and I was then also employed with them, and they all came into the office after there was only Stefan Drees at the office and Andre Haasbroek. Then everyone else came. Saul Holtman was then employed, and Wendy Newton was employed, and Bernd Strauss was already employed there. And while the process was Mama Ana Philander, Mama Universe, Bertum education and processes and businesses that have to structure their processes fine. Rishi Sunak is India, and India was not exactly New Zealand businesses that have been employed at, and not nobly but Europe, South Africa. And that is Brexit exit processes. So Rishi Sunak, while Antoinette is there in office managing her duties, don't disrupt her office duties while you are standing in the political seat to stand in Ribea Elise's Mama Universe Nublibit's communication, right? So the process looks very colorful in the international world, but it can be very disruptive, and we have to explain it right, and everyone has to make sure that the processes are fine and are non-disruptive. And while Rishi Sunak stands there, there India, and Antoinette sits in the office, and she's been called to Japan with next to Christopher Luxon. Antoinette said, no, everyone, that's not how we manage office. And Antoinette stepped down from that seat, and that's not what she said with the words, but it was only an entertainment position, and she had to decline because no one plays a fool with our Mama Ana Philander's Universe Communications, and no one stirs wars around our Mama Ana Philander's Mama Universe Communications. What else? And Antoinette said, yes, she really wanted oldest daughter Shanice to work for the council also. So everyone has to get the processes right. Shanice is accountant, and she's probably a final accountant studies years. And she's also going to want to be employed at the council. So Rishi Sunak, don't play in England's processes. for everyone that has now had the advantage to have Rishi Sunak there so that they can manipulate Mama Anna Philander's house. So this is also for ISA business. Malvina Latrick and Abrams that have also married India to want to intervene in Mama Anna Philander's processes. We don't even want to begin to explain how we disregard processes that want to be a problem in our Mama Anna Philander's, Mama Universe wombs. We don't even want to begin to say that. So for all of those teams that now thought they had Rishi Sunak there to now stand in front of Ribea's salary, please don't even try that maneuverings in those communications. And for all of those people that has called Rishi Sunak to the political seat of England, when I was employed with all the Europeans at Nibblibus, Rishi Sunak India was now not in our discussions. There was a European manager from Germany, there was a European manager from France, and I would say that again so that everyone get the processes right. There was a European manager that then traveled from England itself, and there was the European Afrikaners, and then there was Ribea, Elise, and then I was also called into their meetings, being health and safety officer, because they really wanted Europe to be fine. What does health and safety means? In all of the logical explanations, they really want Europe to be a fine place, so no one goes to disrupt our Nibblibits communication, because I, Ribea, Elise, can find a way in explaining to myself what is really happening here, and it's really that when us people are really now not a process, but the process now is every one of us in all of those meetings. And then everyone has to do what they have to make sure that they don't disrupt such communications and such office employments, and no one manipulates anyone's office employments. And that is all for today, everyone. Everyone get all of those processes right. It doesn't matter if Rishi Sunak wants to explain something. Like I say, you also look sometimes like my brother Richard Philander. But remember, the process has already caused my brother Richard Philander to not be there when my brother Richard Philander was only 36 years old. And then it was New Orleans Secondary School communications around him that were oppressive. And it was the army communications around him that was oppressive. And then he went to Simonstown, and Simonstown still had his universe communications, and the lot happened to my brother that was drunkenness and a lot of oppressions. So in all of those communications, secondary schools don't manipulate our communications. What else, everyone? That's it for that. And then we said if Rishi Sunak is explaining something, because Rishi Sunak is also finances, yes. Then he explains it in his time, but he does not explain it as if he has now been instructed by Mama Anna Philander's house or has been elected by Mama Anna Philander's house. He explained his own process in womb, and he stands exactly independent with that. Mama Anna Philander's house exactly stands independent in the Mama Universe birth womb, and in how we present and represent our Mama Universe birth womb on this earth. That is it, everyone. We can choose any political leader, but no one manipulates no one's employment. No one goes to now put Rishi Sunak on the seat to go and explain the Russia-Ukraine war. Then it looks like Ribea, Elise was at Nibblibits with all the Europeans there. When our children are now in university in England and they don't know the information, and until Ribea, Elise have now learned there's a lot happening in office employments, and then until Ribea, Elise educates that no one manipulates our womb, no one manipulates our educations, and no one now explains the Russia-Ukraine war next to a Rishi Sunak, and there is now a Ribea that was now employed at Nibblibits with all the European managers. Another European manager traveled to South Africa that I was employed at, and traveled from America with his wife, was from America, and that's because of my Mama Anna Philander's Mama Universe American womb. And that was now just an outside Poland building, where Dubai wants to the whole time sit in meetings. They told me when I was at Poland building, they said Ribea, Dubai is the whole time. The Muslims are the whole time sitting in meetings with Justin, and he's the whole time being oppressed in South Africa. And I said, okay, I really don't know what it means, but we will really make sure that everyone is fine. And hopefully if Justin will be fine with what he is doing in his processes in South Africa. So that's it, everyone, and no one manipulates our employment rights. Another employment in South Africa that I've been employed in was Sales Hire Cape Town. That's also white Afrikaner, yes. I was also human resources there. So everyone gets that communications right, and do not manipulate and put Rishi Sunak there to now want to explain Mama Anna Philander drunken house. Because Mama Anna Philander's house are only as drunk as the bottle of wine that someone else has put in front of us. Thank you for the wine to read about the wines. All of those communications need to be right. And another thing, before I now conclude with this video. I've also been employed at Oostenburg Lodges, bartender. My brother is still fixing the bar, and that's no war bars. It's a normal bar and no war arguments around the Oostenburg Lodge processes. We had fine processes in South Africa. All the dance club managers were there in meetings together, and there was no aggressions in our Oostenburg Lodge processes. When we were by Oostenburg Lodge, and we were called to Oostenburg Lodge, and all of us were there, and everyone said no one called no one, and the picture is so clear like a AWOKH fashion that sometimes just needs my Gucci bag, they said, my Louis Vuitton shoes, my original Mama Anna Philander processes. And that is where we are going to leave this discussion at. The New Zealand businesses is everything is on LinkedIn, and if anyone has questions, go to LinkedIn, do a reference check on the Elise, find out more information about the processes. And that's for everyone managing the international world's processes. Other than that, everyone have an amazing AWOKH season with me, Elise.